I'm Dr. Luann Fortune. I'm with Saybrook University in the Department of Mind-Body Medicine, and I'll be leading us today through a mindfulness moment in the spring of 2025. You might be listening to it in some other time. You might be thinking it's not quite spring where you are right now. But I did conceive of this with the idea that we are coming up against a transition. And I'm actually referring to the weather right now. So no matter where you are, you're going to be coming across springtime. Or maybe if you're down under, you're going to be coming across fall time. As is our habit, we like to do things that are evidence-based. So if anyone's interested in the references on this, you can email me or you can get in touch with the chat box, and we're happy to provide you with the full reference list. But I do want to mention that massage and even facial self-massage is evidence supported. There is a good deal of evidence that has come out of the cosmetology, cosmetics, esthetician evidence about improving skin tone, reducing spasticity, which can be very helpful for folks who might have had neurological things going on. Also improving sleep. Several different studies, recent studies on the improvement of sleep after facial massage, both in hospitalization and out. Overall, in our kind of goal for today is to help those who would like to induce the relaxation response. And then I have a personal favorite, which is that facial massage and the techniques I'm going to show you today can help improve allergic reactions. And particularly with the seasonal changes, this is a consideration for us. So who can do this? Well, first of all, it's sort of important to center yourself. So we're going to take a moment going into this to center yourself, but I want to say why the face in particular is such a critical area for engaging with centering before you start touching or stroking. And this is a homunculus. It is an ancient sort of tool, but it is still a visual depiction of something that's sort of accurate today. It shows how the sensorial cortex of our nervous system receives signals from different places on our bodies. And you might notice that the face takes up a significant proportion of that sensory input. So if you're going to join along today and do a self-massage on yourself, on your own face, I want you to consider a couple things. First of all, the face is especially sensitive. And of course, you want to think about that when you're touching faces of others as well, with all those little nerve endings there. Also, it's the site of our sensation portals. So we're going to be working around the eyes, be particularly careful, even around the nose, which is loaded with acupressure points, can be particularly sensitive, around the mouth and the teeth. And for those of you who might have teeth or gum problems, you might want to be very gentle here, but you can massage your gums from the outside through your lips. So we're going to be doing all of those things today. Consider before we get started the condition of your hands. So I just washed my hands before we got started. I want to make sure that they are clean and dust-free, that I'm not moving any debris over or into my orifices. Also, check your nails, because this in particular is a place where you want to use the pads of your fingers, using very gently. We'll also use our full fingers, maybe even a little bit of our palms as we stroke over our faces. If your nails are very long, please be mindful that you are not doing any injury to yourself. So take your time. Slower here is better. So I think it's time now for us to get started. So before we get into the strokes, and the strokes are listed here, and I'm going to keep them up on the screen, but I'm also going to be demonstrating. So I will be on your screen along with you. Before we even go into this, it's so important to not only ground yourself in the outside, but also center yourself on the inside. And if you don't want to continue on with the strokes for whatever reason, you can continue to stay in the centering while we walk through this protocol. But first of all, I'd like to invite you all now to settle in. And for a moment, if you want to close your eyes and focus in on your breath, breathing in and out. And this is a place where it's so important to clear out all the things that you brought with you that are not about touching your face. So as you breathe in and breathe out, create a space, a little meadow or an opening, where you're going to make contact with yourself. And notice that you're feeling on the inside, maybe a little anticipation, maybe a little bit of uncertainty, maybe a little questioning or wondering what's going to happen next. And remember that you are controlling the flow here. So if it's helpful for you to see the instructions as I'm walking you through them with my voice, you can open your eyes, and on the screen you'll see that we are going to begin with our forehead. But before I even do that, I'm going to bring my hands together and very gently I'm going to rub them together to create a sense of warmth. And you might notice how your hands feel. Are they feeling soft? Are they feeling tense? One of the things that we know from all of those sensations and those nerve endings in our face is even the slightest amount of stiffness or tension or tightness in our hands will be picked up by those little nerve endings. So as you're doing this, breathing in and rubbing your hands together, see if you can let your hands be firm but gentle together. And when you're ready, take your palms, bring them up to your forehead, and stretching from the midline out to your hairline, make an open book across your forehead. Using the flats of your hands and your fingertips to move across your forehead. And you can repeat that several times. And you might notice what it feels like to be on the receiving end of that stroke. If you feel like you want a little bit more pressure there, you can also drop your forehead into the flats of your hands and letting gravity create a little bit more weight for you as you move across. Remembering to breathe in and to breathe out. Also noticing if there's anything that feels particularly sensitive, maybe up to your hairline and out to your temples. And now gradually, see if you can relocate your fingertips on your eyebrows and move them outward toward your temples. Now there are many acupressure points, sensory points, and your upper sinuses are underneath where your fingers are right now. So this is a very good place to help open up sinuses that help you breathe better all the way to the top of your head. And you know, sinuses are just places where the bones come together. They're not these mysterious caverns. They are simply part of our bone structure. Moving outward across the eyebrows and out to the temples. Now, I just noticed something. If you're out at the temples and you want to take a pause, you might notice if you open and close your jaw. And you might relocate your fingers a little bit to feel where that joint comes together. And opening and closing. And at this point, you might want to put a little bit more pressure, just holding at that joint. And let your jaw do the work for you as you open and close, open and close. And here's a funny little trick. If you're feeling it's a little bit tight for you, maybe a little bit tender, pause for a moment and do a Kegel exercise. Yes, it's true. All the way down to your pelvic floor, tighten the pelvic floor and release the pelvic floor. And then check in with your jaw again. Notice if you see any difference. Okay, we're going to bring our fingers back now to upward the bridge of the nose. And you might want to push up on the inside here. Lots of acupressure points here. And this can also be a very good place for helping release sinus congestion. So I'm going to take my inner fingers, my middle finger and my index finger, and very gently press on the inside. On the inside. And then down across the cheeks. And I'm going to repeat that several times from the nose on out. And now as I'm moving downward, I'm going to position my fingers over my lips on top and move my fingers on across there and all the way back out to the jawline once again. And then the lower lips as well. Tracing along. And now as long as I'm back out toward my temples, I'm going to take a moment, pause, and gradually make small circles up along the jawline with my fingertips. Making small circles all the way down to my chin. And then when I get to the chin in the center of my face, take my fingers and the flats of them and trace up the jawlines all the way to my ears. And taking your fingers and spreading them out so your index and your middle finger are separate. Position your fingers on either side of your ears and massage your ears around your head. Oh. Now, you might also find that you can massage the lobes and the outer parts of your ears with the thumb, your opposing thumb, and your fingers. And be very gentle, but you might want to be able to do some circles or maybe even a gentle pull. I can actually put my fingers inside of my ears and pull downward. And if I yawn, I release more tension in my sinuses. Very nice. Well, how quickly time goes. We're moving through 5 minutes now, and I'm going to slide my fingers into my scalp from my ears. And I'm going to take a little scalp massage here. So I encourage you to massage all the way up from the base of your skull, the area called the occiput or the occipital ridge. Oh, that's where the neck muscles hook into the head muscles, all the way up into your hair. And this is a place where you could probably spend the entire 15 minutes just massaging in through your scalp. But I'm also mindful of our time now. So continue to massage in through your scalp. And I'm going to begin getting ready to finish us up by rubbing my hands together, removing them from my scalp, of course, first, and rubbing together. And then as a close, bring your hands in front of you and drop your forehead into your palms. And I'd like you to take a moment to stay there, breathe very gently. And while you're doing that, I would like to mention that there are many things you can do at home. And for those who might be interested in learning more about learning gua sha tools, which you can buy online, but you should use carefully, using aromatherapy, acupressure points, doing aromatherapy steams, or even yoga stretches, please reach out to me. Love to hear your comments, but it's time for me to begin to bring you back. So you might want to take one more generous breath in. And as your eyes begin to refocus, even if they're still closed, think about the moment you're going to be opening them. And you might acknowledge that in particular you are in a very relaxed, possibly meditative state. And if you choose not to speak for now, or if you do speak, speak from your experience and not the ways that you take others out of theirs. And see if you can carry that sense into your day. I'm Dr. Luann Fortune, and I'm glad to be with you today. Thank you.